A 5-year-old girl discovers a clearly neglected young German shepherd amidst the bustle of a busy market. The dog looks sad and unloved, and the girl begs her mother to help her save him. What happens next is truly amazing. On a bright Saturday morning, 5-year-old Emily was walking through the market with her parents when she noticed a large German shepherd tied to a post near a corner stall. Her mother, Victoria, saw Emily's eyes and followed them to the dog. She acknowledged her daughter's innate sensitivity to animals in need and sighed. "Okay, sweetie, we can go take a look, but stay close to me," she said as they approached. Emily crouched a few feet away from the dog and said, "Hello, boy," softly reaching out her hand. The dog sniffed cautiously at the air, its ears twitching slightly in response. Emily edged closer, saying, "You seem so sad, but it's okay, I'm here now." Emily always paid close attention to animals, but this one seemed especially vulnerable. Victoria warned that he might be feeling scared, but the little girl refused to look away. She saw a vendor nearby who appeared to be the owner, but he was too busy serving customers to pay much attention to the dog, so Emily got up and went up to him. "Excuse me, sir. Is this your dog?" the vendor asked, looking at her for a moment before nodding and saying that the dog was not good and that no one wanted it. Emily's heart fell when she asked the man if she could pet him. He shrugged nonchalantly, and Emily turned back to the dog, carefully reaching out to stroke his fur. To her surprise, the dog didn't back down. Instead, he leaned in and touched her, wagging his tail slightly. Emily grinned, knowing that a bond was developing. Over the next few weeks, Emily and her parents went to the market frequently, and every time she spent time with the dog, she gave him the name Thor, and their relationship grew stronger. Seemed to recognize Emily, his eyes lit up whenever he saw her. Her parents saw the growing bond and started talking about the possibility of taking the dog home. They knew it wouldn't be simple because Thor needed a lot of care and medical attention, but they couldn't ignore Emily's unwavering will to help him. Eventually, after much deliberation, they went to the vendor and offered to take Thor home. The man seemed excited to get rid of what he called the useless dog, and Emily accepted his offer without hesitation. Soaring, she led Thor to their car and unchained him gently. "You're coming home with us," she whispered softly. Emily sat close to the dog, her hand caressing his fur as he rested his head on her lap. It was a quiet act of comfort and trust. Emily had saved a stray dog from the market, but she had no idea that Thor, as he would soon be named, would demonstrate how extraordinary their bond would become. Bringing the dog home was only the Thor, with his matted fur and exposed ribs, had lived a difficult life, and it was evident in his behavior at first. He flinched at sudden movements and loud noises and cowered when adults tried to pet him. Emily and her family spent every moment they could with him, sitting by his side and reading books or just talking to him about her first impressions of the new journey. Initially, her small size seemed to calm him down, but as time went on, the dog showed signs of trust. He leaned into her hand when she petted him and began to follow her around the house. However, his behavior remained erratic, so the family decided to get professional assistance. They contacted Dr. Louise Taylor, a local animal behaviorist who specializes in helping traumatized dogs. Dr. Taylor visited their home and closely examined Thor's behavior and mannerisms, noting the things this dog has experienced. The training was slow and required a lot of patience, but there were days when Thor showed improvement and obeyed orders. She explained thoughtfully that Thor's erratic behavior is a result of the trauma he has experienced in the past and that what he needs now is a stable environment, patience, and consistent training to rebuild his sense of security. He even occasionally played fetch with Emily, but there were also difficulties. Although Thor was never hostile toward the young child, one day while they were playing in the yard, he approached Emily with a ball in his mouth and his tail wagging like a propeller. This was the first time he had started to play, and Emily's heart leaped with delight as she threw the ball, and Thor chased after it, barking joyfully as Victoria and John looked on. The family's relentless efforts to rehabilitate their dog were far from over, but as the weeks stretched into months, Thor's behavior improved steadily, and Emily's unending patience and unconditional love began to heal the emotional wounds from his past. One sunny afternoon, she was playing in the yard, her laughter filling the air, and Thor joyfully chased after a ball, his tail wagging with newfound happiness. Victoria and John sat on the porch, sipping iced tea, feeling a sense of. The quiet afternoon was broken by a loud noise as they watched, and they couldn't help but marvel at how far their beloved dog had come. The neighbor's cat had been startled by a car backfiring, and it darted across the yard, sending Thor into a frenzy. Thor fled after the cat, barking wildly, and Emily tried to stop him. She ran after him, her little legs straining to keep up in the chaos, and she failed to notice the approaching car speeding down the street. I apologize for the interruption, but before we continue with the story, I kindly ask that you like the video and subscribe to this channel. It is for us. Thank you very much. In that split second, Thor's protective instincts took over. He saw the danger long before Emily was aware of it as the car sped dangerously close. Victoria and John's hearts leaped into their throats as they saw Emily chasing Thor. Victoria and John hurried to Emily's side as she was dazed but unharmed, clinging to Thor, who stood protectively over her. He nuzzled her gently, licking her face as if to reassure her that she was safe from that day on. Thor's place in the family was solidified that day, and through a powerful leap, he pushed her out of the car's path just in time. The driver's face was pale with shock. Emily looked up one day while Thor was out for a walk, and he suddenly froze and started growling. It was the same market vendor who had kept Thor chained and neglected him. The man's eyes narrowed as he recognized the dog. "So that's where you ended up," he sneered, his tone cold and sharp. Emily tightened her grip on Thor's leash, sensing the tension emanating from him. She knew she needed to maintain her composure. "Thor is my dog," she said quietly, determinedly, "and you can't take him back." The man snorted, his voice brimming with conceit. "You had no right to take him." "You didn't take care of him," Emily said firmly, meeting his gaze. "He deserved better." The man moved closer, and Thor growled increasingly fiercely. "We have proof of how you treated him, so you won't get him back." The man glared at her, then turned and walked away, muttering to himself. Emily let out a shaky breath and knelt next to Thor, giving him a tight hug and saying, "It's okay, he won't hurt you." The man threatened to involve the authorities, even accusing her of stealing his dog. Emily's mind raced, but the confrontation was unsettling. Emily's parents assured her that they would support her and keep Thor safe after she talked to them about the incident. On a bright and sunny Saturday, the local community held a pet fair and dog show, and Emily's family decided to participate because it was a chance to show off Thor's development and spend a day together. The fair was bustling with. When they arrived, the park was lined with booths selling pet supplies, treats, and information about animal care. The air was filled with excited barks and laughter as dogs of all sizes interacted with their owners. Emily was thrilled to be there and couldn't wait to see how Thor would adjust to the new environment. As they went through the busy fair, they came across a booth that featured a tracking and agility demonstration. Emily's eyes glistened with excitement as she took in the display. She asked, "Can we try this, Mommy?" and looked up at her mother with hopeful eyes. Victoria smiled and nodded. They went to the booth, where a friendly instructor welcomed them and asked if they wanted to see if their dog had any hidden talents. Emily nodded enthusiastically. The instructor led them to the agility course, which was equipped with tunnels, jumps, and weaving poles. He suggested that Emily lead her dog to the course so they could see how Thor performed. As she started, her heart was racing with anticipation because she had never tried agility with Thor before, but she had a hunch that he might surprise everyone. She asked him if he was ready, and his ears perked up, and he eagerly wagged his tail. As soon as Emily gave the signal, Thor charged forward with resolve, moving through the course with incredible agility and grace. Thor soared effortlessly over the jumps, threaded smoothly through the poles, and sped through the tunnels. And accuracy that astounded the crowd, who watched in wonder as he finished the course faster than anyone had anticipated. Emily was ecstatic. She had always known her dog was unique, but witnessing him succeed in the agility course was beyond her wildest expectations. Word of Thor's secret talent spread swiftly throughout the fair, and everyone who had previously rescued a dog now saw him as a star. Emily's family received multiple offers from agility clubs and trainers, and everyone was excited to help Thor get to. The discovery of Thor's talent opened up new possibilities for Emily and her beloved dog. They started training with the local agility club, and Thor's progress was amazing. He quickly became a favorite among the trainers, but the excitement surrounding Thor's newfound agility talent was soon overshadowed by a troubling development. The previous owner, emboldened by Thor's success, started to escalate his threats, and he started showing up at the park during their classes. He would yell during training that Thor was his and that he would use all means to reclaim him. As Emily's parents became more worried about their daughter's safety and Thor's welfare, they decided it was time to take legal action to ensure the dog's permanent place in their family. They contacted an attorney who specializes in animal rights cases, and during their initial consultation, Miss Patterson listened. "The key will be to gather as much evidence as possible of Thor's past mistreatment and show how well he is doing in your care," she said confidently, adding to their story. Victoria and John started gathering as much evidence as they could to support their case. They had taken detailed photos of Thor's condition when they first rescued him, including his matted fur, protruding ribs, and sad eyes. They also gathered veterinarian records demonstrating his health improvements and testimony from neighbors, friends, and trainers who had seen Thor's transformation. Emily was determined to assist as well. She wrote a heartfelt letter explaining her bond with Thor and the positive changes she had noticed in him. "Thor is my best friend," she wrote with sincerity. "He saved my life, and I love him deeply. Please don't let anyone take him away from me." The court case was looming, and the legal process was intimidating. Emily and Thor continued their training despite the tension. The local agility competition was quickly approaching, and it was a significant occasion where Thor could show off his skills and further demonstrate how well he had adapted to his new life. Emily's heart raced every time she saw the previous owner lurking nearby, but she found strength in her love for Thor and her resolve to keep him safe. On the day of the competition, the air was electric as dozens of dogs and their owners gathered, ready. Emily took a deep breath and concentrated on Thor as they waited for their turn, noticing the previous owner standing on the sidelines, glaring at them. "We can do this," she whispered softly, "just like we practiced." When the announcer called their names, Emily and Thor walked onto the course with determination, and the crowd fell silent with anticipation. Emily gave the signal, and Thor leaped into motion, soaring over the jumps and weaving through the poles, ran through the tunnels with a grace that left everyone speechless. As they crossed the finish line, the crowd erupted in applause. Emily smiled proudly, and Thor excitedly wagged his tail. The competition judges were impressed, and one of them, a famous dog trainer, came up to Emily and Thor. He said, "You and Thor are an outstanding pair." Emily gripped Thor's leash when the hearing day finally arrived. Miss Patterson confidently presented their case, highlighting Thor's progress and the loving care he had received from Emily's family. The judge listened intently, reviewing the photos, veterinary records, and testimonials. Emily's letter was read aloud, bringing tears to many in the courtroom. Lastly, the judge turned to the previous owner, citing the overwhelming evidence that Thor had been abused and neglected. The previous owner objected, but the judge was adamant that your actions show that you were unfit to care for this dog. The judge ruled in favor of Emily's family, and Thor will stay with them permanently. It was a major victory for Emily and her family, but the story didn't end there. With your care, he has flourished with his new family, and it is in his best interest to stay with them. An investigation into Thor's previous owner revealed shocking information that shocked everyone and strengthened community support for Emily and Thor. It turned out that the man had a history of mistreating animals, with several other animals suffering while in his care. Witnesses came forward to testify about his cruel behavior, and the local news picked up the story. The information about Thor's past spread like wildfire, igniting a wave of public outrage. Mistreatment inspired the community to take action, and neighbors, friends, and even complete strangers came together to support Emily's family, promising that Thor's former owner would never be able to mistreat another animal. Did you enjoy the story? Have you ever saved an animal from a life of abandonment or sadness? If so, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the story, please subscribe to this channel and leave a comment. Emily and Thor's story shows us how it. I appreciate you listening, and I hope to see you in the future video. Is it possible to live peacefully with our animals even if they have a history of abuse? A wonderful day.